Thank you. If I could have your attention. Thank you so much. Good evening and welcome to the Community Board 10 General Meeting. Today is May 19th, 2025. We are happy to have you all here with us. And tonight we will have a special honor of the pledge because tonight we get to welcome back a very special member of our Community Board. Let me take a moment to tell you a little bit about Lori Willis. I want to take this opportunity to thank Lori Willis for all her service to the board over the past 14 years. Sadly, Lori has not reapplied to renew her membership for another term. Lori joined the board in 2011 and served with great dedication throughout her time with us. She was first assigned to the Police and Public Safety Committee because of her involvement as a resident who experienced issues from an SLA licensed premise near her home. She eventually became chair of the Police and Public Safety Committee in 2013, served as a parliamentarian for many years, has served on the Zoning and Land Use Committee and the Youth Services, Education and Libraries Committee. Lori became the board's vice chair in 2016. Lori was elected chair of the board in July 2019 and served for 3 terms, leading the board through the pandemic and the challenge of transitioning us to virtual meetings over Zoom. Under Lori's leadership, our board was one of the first to hold a fully remote, successful board meeting in the very early days of the pandemic. Although Lori will be moving on and leaving us, we want her to know that she is always welcome to come back home and drop in on us. Lori, you will be missed. Please join us in thanking Lori for all she has done for our board and wishing her well. Let's have a round of applause. In June of 2007 and has served as a board member for 18 years. Michael has been a member of many committees during his time on the board: the Military and Veterans Affairs Committee, the Parks Committee, and the Zoning and Land Use Committee, to name a few. Michael has chaired the Parks and Cultural Affairs Committee, the Communications and Public Relations Committee, and the Nominating Committee. However, he has always been and is most remembered as a longtime member of the Police and Public Safety Committee, where he notably, along with Lori Willis, will always be appreciated for their investigative work as part of police and public safety. They will go into establishments and check to see if alcohol was being served without a license, check on noise complaints and the like. And as a former neighbor of Michael's, I can tell you, he was on it all the block as well. We will always appreciate Michael's undercover skills and his hard work to keep our community safe and a wonderful place to live. He will be missed as a board member. Please join me in wishing Michael all the best as he will come. Thank you. For the honor of the pledge here with your Community Board 10 members.
America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. And as a token of our appreciation for it, and we also have a certificate for Michael as well. And I think I will follow. I will say that I never expected to be on the board. It's given back, I would say, as much as I've given it, if not more. I've learned so much. I've met awesome people, like made great life on them. Kind of sad for me. I'm also a little happy I have to do all the hard work that we do here. We get a little bit slack that we sometimes get here for doing it, but it's important, and it's been a great time. It's been wonderful. I thank you all. Thank you so much.
I mean, okay, yeah. I can't believe it's 18 years. I remember, like it was yesterday when I first joined, and it's been quite a trip. I've made a lot of friends. Just like Laura said, a lot of lifelong friends, and I'm gonna miss everyone, but I'm only a block away from the office and about 5. But thank you, everyone, for this evening, and hope to see you again soon.
You know, as my neighbor, Michael, I remember you saying, yeah, for it. But it's definitely fun and it's definitely rewarding. And so that's nice. Thank you, thank you. Okay, now we must have an adoption of our agenda. Do we have a motion? We have a second. All in favor? Thank you. Next, we have an adoption of our minutes. All in favor? Thank you. And now we will go on to our public session. We will begin this evening with our public session. Please welcome from the Brooklyn PA Eric Gonzalez's office. Please welcome Nancy Lula. Good evening, everyone. Hope everyone's doing well. I bring greetings on behalf of District Attorney Eric Gonzalez to everyone. Just wanted to emphasize that today's top priority is ensuring that everyone in Brooklyn remains safe and strengthening the community's trust. I also want to remind you that our Action Center's phone number, if there's anything you would like to address with the Brooklyn DA's office, call 718-250-2340. I want to wish Michael and Lori all the best. Good luck with everything. Lori, it was really a pleasure working with you via Zoom in the beginning of the pandemic, where we didn't know what was going on, but you made everything great and easy. So thank you for that. And good luck, Michael, with everything as well. And I want to conclude with thanking CP10 for all the great work that you guys do also for the community and advocating. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you so much. Next from Senator Andrew Bernardus' office, please welcome Maya Gedman. I'd like to thank Lori and Michael for their service. They've been good friends to our office. I will give the board credit for teaching Michael a heck of an advocacy
we appreciate public servants very much. Briefly, we have a couple flyers out that are new this time. We have some spring fitness in the park. We have the always popular no soliciting. I reordered them, so we have plenty. And we are rolling out the summer concert series in Shore Road Park at 79th Street. Some old favorites, a couple of new ones, and they will start on the Tuesday after the 4th of July. And another note that we're very excited about, Monday, June 2nd, we will be officially naming PS 413 the Joanne Seminara School of Law and Medicine.
Thank you so much. And next, from Assemblymember Michael Tanusis' office, please welcome Basil Katanakis.
Hi, everybody, good evening. I just have a statement that I'd like to read from Assemblyman Tanusis, as well as sign off from the Goldman Sachs and Albert Krasny. As the elected officials who represent Bay Ridge, Brooklyn, we write to express our deep concerns regarding the proposed phase 3 citywide expansion plan, specifically the addition of approximately 50 new stations within Brooklyn community board time. While we recognize the importance of providing alternative transportation options, the current plan raises serious concerns that directly impact the quality of life for Bay Ridge residents and the vitality of our small business community. Our neighborhood already faces significant parking scarcity, and the installation of city bike docking stations in valuable curbside spaces threatens to exacerbate this problem. Many residents, including seniors, rely on street parking due to the limited availability of off-street parking options. The removal of parking spaces will further strain this resource and create an unnecessary hardship. Additionally, the placement of city bike docking stations along busy commercial risks disrupting the essential flow of traffic to and from small businesses that depend on customer access and delivery operation. At a time when many of our mom and pop shops are still recovering from the economic fallout of recent years, we cannot afford to impose additional barriers that may deter patrons from visiting our local establishments. We urge the Department of Transportation to reconsider the implementation of this expansion and consider installing these docking stations at locations that do not negatively impact parking. We are hopeful that your agency is willing to work with our offices, community board 10, and neighborhood stakeholders to explore alternatives to this plan that will protect our commercial corridors from unintended disruption. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And next, from Councilmember Alexa Aguilas' office, please welcome Rob Aguilar.
Good evening, everyone. Just have some really quick announcements. Tax lien. A reminder to property owners who might owe property taxes, water and sewer, or emergency repair. That you are at risk of having those debts sold. So as May 20th, if you owe any of these things, your debt can be sold to a third party for collection. So the council has passed legislation to help folks with that. And you can do one of two things. You can try to pay the minimum amount to prevent the debt from being sold, or you can apply for an exemption. So essentially you have until tomorrow to do this if you find yourself in that situation. And you can reach out to the Department of Finance on their website, or you can go down to the Brooklyn Business Center over at 210 Vermont Street in downtown. And then also on June 28th, we will be celebrating St. Philip's Episcopal Church's 125th anniversary in this community. So there will be a renaming of 80th Street and 11th Avenue. And we invite everyone to come out. It's on Saturday, June 28th at 11. There'll be picnic, music, festivities, and thank you once again to Roy for their years of service. Again, work at the community board does is volunteer work. They don't get paid for this, and 18 years plus of dedication to this. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much. I'm sorry, there was a question?
I'm just curious, if you're a renter and you live in a building, how can you check to make sure that the owner doesn't owe money and that building might be, in danger of being sold?
So the building won't be sold. So,
So the building won't be sold, the debt will be sold. Think of like, when debts or credit card debts are sold to collectors,
Oh,
right? So the city in itself, is going to sell these debts to collectors.
it's not.
And then, and then there's a lien on the property. So for owners to avoid this from happening, they have a few options that the city council.
Thank you so much. And now from Councilmember Susan Chong's office, please welcome Stanley King.
I was going to talk about the same thing about the tax lien. Since he talked about it, we're dealing with it right now, 4 cases in my office. And if I have time with tax liens, come see us. Second thing I wanted to mention, that was the permit to the community for 10 people. Our office is sponsoring a bike helmet day, May 31st, in Suffolk Park. Suffolk Park is outside, I know it's outside District 10, but it's the only one that's big enough for the council member district. So in other council districts, they gave away over 1,000 bike. So I recommend, mark it down your calendar, if you need looking for a bike helmet, May 31st at Suffolk Park. Okay? Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. I also want to thank our Vice Chair, Sandy Vallis, who also, as part of his duties, took it upon himself and helped to feed people who were standing. So thank you so much for being such a good community. Continuing with our speaking session, please welcome. We have Eileen Sacco is here with us tonight to speak with us about the English Shots program.
As you know, I was here last month and I was at a piece of public safety meeting, the month before, and everybody voted on the Angel Shot program. And, I just wanted, the posters came in, I just wanted to share them with everyone. This is a real, collaborative community effort with the precinct. We have precinct community board 10, third avenue merchants, fifth avenue merchants, with Deputy Bid, and all of our elected officials. So, as of, actually tomorrow night, I'm gonna be starting, getting, the bar and restaurant with our new SOL tenant, and we're gonna get these off. So, maybe in a month, I'll come back and I'll, read off the list of everybody who joined. I just wanted to thank Community Board 10 again, and all of our elected officials. And also, we have a flyer, we're doing a flag support for the precinct, if anybody's interested, it's over on the page.
From Fort Hamilton Army Garrison, we have here tonight our Colonel Kim, here, Campbell, please welcome.
The end of the hard work, we talked about 5 to 11, depending on which shift you're actually counting. Rain or shine, one was the event at Fort Hamilton. And then Always Fires in the back on 13 June, we'll be celebrating the Army's 250th birthday, as well as the installation's bicentennial. So the community is welcome. We'll have vendors, food, and fireworks, most importantly. It's really just a great opportunity to thank you, the community. Thank you.
Thank you. And now we welcome Jack Latore to speak with us from the New York City Public Service Retirees Medical Plan. Thank you.
Hold my bicycle, I do have a home. It was not a city bike shop, my old bicycle. I want to thank everyone, the community board, especially for Josephine and Dorothy, Walt, Dorothy's old term, eventually we get home, we can stop, so thank you. The reason I'm here, I'm going to be as brief as I possibly can. I'm representing the organization of public service retirees, and what we are doing is we are reaching out to all the community boards in the city. I'm retired from the New York City Police Department. I'm a New York City public service retiree. There's many other retirees. We have teachers, we have finance, education. It's an incredible, array of people that retire. Now, when we came on the job, whatever the respective jobs were, we were promised certain healthcare benefits. And I can't help but notice the sign here that says honor thy father and thy mother. We're asking the city of New York to honor their commitment to us. And what we're trying to do now is have this local law, this intro number 1096. It's the city council members that have supported it, our council members Marte, Holding, Lee, Palladino, Namorato, Vernicott, and Ariola. It's basically a local law to amend the administrative code 12-126 to preserve the benefits that the city promised to retirees. And what we're talking about mainly is Medicare. We're on traditional Medicare as I speak now, but the city is trying to force us into a plan that's called the Aetna Medicare Advantage Plan. We actually refer to this as the Advantage Plan. The reason for that is probably 95% of healthcare professionals in this country that will accept traditional Medicare. With this other plan or any of these other Medicare Advantage plans, some of them are good, but I just understand concerns that basically what I'm trying to do now is ask the support of the community board, a letter of support for something along those lines. So I think that's my time is up. Is that a spiel over there?
Yes.
Okay. That wasn't sure. Thank you very much, everybody.
Next, please welcome Venus Gantlebury to speak with us from New York City Civil Litigation Board.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Venus Gantlebury. For those of you who know me, I work for the New York City Civil Litigation Board and Brooklyn Outreach. I'm essentially the RCA agency that serves as civilian oversight of the police department. We independently investigate and mediate police misconduct. So I usually take my rounds to all 18 community boards. So now it's community board's time turn. It has sliders on the back that shows you how to file a complaint. Generally, our jurisdiction is in street encounters and traffic stops. So that's going over force, abuse of authority, discourtesy, and offensive language. We also do voter rights workshops that educate folks on their rights and responsibilities during the street encounters. I'm going on the stop and frisk, the different levels of street encounters, and also just how to file a complaint and engaging in a healthy conversation on public safety. What happened recently in our agency, we just dropped our quarterly administrative prosecution unit report. So I will not be citing statistics, but if anyone is interested in looking over the types of complaints that we have taken to trial as of 2025, please visit our website. Because there's a QR code at the table and it'll take you right there. Brooklyn Outreach, so if anyone wants to do a workshop, we do voter rights workshops, we do tabling, resource fairs, all of that stuff. I can just recite my cell phone number and my business cards, 917-742-4098. Thank you for your time, board, and have a great day.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And now we will go on to Carol Smolensky, who would like to speak with us about plastic pollution.
Very nervous because I'm new here, and so, and I also thought I would come in and I'm going to talk about things. I just moved to community board this morning, also in Bay Ridge. And I thought I'd come and see what's going on in my community board, because I actually haven't, all right, I won't talk about myself. I wanted to just say, one of the things that I'm concerned about, and I'd like you all to join me in being concerned about, and that is about plastic pollution in the United States. We have a recycling rate of 5 to 6% of all plastic.
Most of the stuff you put in the bin does not get recycled, but goes to landfill where it will be for hundreds, if not thousands of years. And if it's not in the landfill, it will be burned, releasing toxins into the air. Also, about 33 billion pounds of plastic enter the ocean each year. And the reason I'm telling you all these depressing things is there's actually something we can do about it. And that I'm involved with. So, there's a law that's been introduced in the state this year that would require plastic packaging companies to use 30% less packaging plastic by 12 years from now. So to gradually reduce it and to reduce the number of toxins. And like you, when I open up a package that I get delivered to my house, I then have to deal with all of this bubble wrap and plastic and all of this stuff. So that's why I got involved. Also because I used to live near the Lawrence Canal, but that's another story. Okay, so if this law passes, it will save us $1.3 billion, because it means that localities won't have to spend that much money shipping the plastic off somewhere. So I just wanted to say something about it, and if you want to know more, please talk to me. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. And next, please welcome Danielle Mallory to speak with us this evening about citywide participatory budgeting.
Hi, I'm super fast. It's citywide participatory budgeting. I can have a postcard over there. You can scan the QR code and you can go look at projects that have been, ideas have been created for the community and are on the ballot and will get funded immediately, for Brooklyn. You can vote for your borough. I do this through the League of Women Voters as well. So when you're scanning this code, the part of the code that'll show up at some point automatically will be LWV that stands for League of Women Voters. So you can leave that there if you'd like, or put something else or something like that. And speaking of League of Women Voters, I've also left some brochures over, like some papers over there that just show you the upcoming voting deadlines and dates. And that's it. Thank you.
We do have a few other members of the public who are here to address the particular issue that it will be coming up in our public session and our public hearings, excuse me. So when we get to that spot on our agenda, we will be inviting you up to speak directly about that. I also would like to take a moment to recognize from Congressmember Nicole Malliotakis' office, Lori Windsor is here with us this evening. Thank you. And from Council Member Carr's office, Nancy Rogan is here with us. Thank you for coming out this evening. And now we will go on with our public hearings. To begin, please welcome Chris Ellison to speak about some wine, beer, and cider licenses.
Good evening. The Police and Public Safety Committee meeting was held on May 7th, 2025. The meeting was a hybrid meeting in person at the Community Board 10 District Office in Austin. We met in form and not in person form. The agenda is as follows. New SLA 1-year cider license application at Backdoor Noodle Bar Incorporated, 308 86th Street. New SLA liquor wine beer cider license application, Aaron E. Pye, precinct 6735 3rd Avenue. New SLA wine beer cider license application at Vero Sushi Incorporated, 533 86th Street. The new SLA license for wine beer cider application back to Noodle Bar Incorporated, 308 86th Street. The applicant, Arturo Casano, is president of the Board 10 office. The applicant is the current owner of the building. The hours of operation will be Monday through Sunday, 8 a.m. to 1 a.m. They will all be back. Outdoor seating will be 8 a.m. to 11 p.m. Seating will be 26 tables, 52 seats. The yard will have 6 tables with 12 seats. Originally, the applicant listed maximum 75 occupants, which would require a public assembly. The applicant agreed that they would have no more than 74. He will amend the questionnaire. The applicant did provide the menu, photos, schematic establishment. The applicant owns several restaurants and bars. After the discussion period, meets recommendation motions to deny the applicant unless the applicant agrees to the following stipulation. The premise will be operated as a restaurant cafe. There will be no sale, consumption of alcohol on the premise until the appropriate license is issued by the state liquor authority. Applicants will not serve or allow for any home use until their license is obtained. The owner and manager will be on site during all hours of operation. The hours of operation will be Monday through Sunday, 8 a.m. to 1 a.m. Outdoor seating, 8 a.m. to 11 p.m. There will be no smoking. There will be no outdoor music. The delivery windows will remain closed and amplified music. Background recording indoor music sound level will remain below the level used by the New York City Noise Code. Once the state liquor authority license is obtained, the community board will call upon the applicant to address any concerns that may arise. There will be 20% visibility view into the establishment in 5 levels. The applicant agrees that since changes in method of operation, the notice to the community board committee comes 45 days in advance of any such change. The maximum number of operators will not exceed 74. The applicant agreed and the motion passed unanimously. So being that it's a hybrid meeting, we need a second from the floor. Any discussion? Yeah.
But this isn't out in the street, it's
No,
out in
no.
front of your establishment,
Part of the establishment.
the yard or in the front? The yard. Because you said in front, and then there was also a back yard. Okay. I misunderstood.
Any other questions?
You said it was at 8 a.m.
8 a.m.
Okay, here's what I'm thinking. And then after seeing also.
Yes.
Any other questions? Any questions from the public? All those in favor? Opposed? Thank you. Next item, SLA legal and your site application for Don B. 5735 The applicant Tom Kim Yang is present on the scene. The restaurant is currently operating. The applicant has listed 33 tables, yet his diagram only listed 13 tables. The applicant is in amendment question at the 13 tables. The hours of operation are Monday through Sunday, 11 a.m. to 9:30 p.m. The restaurant will be both private party section birthday. There will only be background music. The applicant is currently operating and is using a coffee delivery. They do have a backyard that are not using. The applicant did have on the questionnaire that they would be using the yard, yet they are not using it, but may plan on using it for the future. The questionnaire will be amended to reflect the non-use of the yard. After discussion, these recommendation motions deny the applicant unless the applicant agrees with the following stipulation. The premises will be operated as a restaurant. There will be no sale of consumption of alcohol on the premises until the appropriate license is issued by the state local authority. Applicants will not serve or allow anyone to until their license is obtained. The owner and manager will be on site during all hours of operation. The hours of operation will be Monday to Sunday, 11 a.m. to 9:30 p.m. There will be no smoking permitted. There will be no outdoor music. The doors and windows shall be closed and amplified music. Background record indoor music sound is made below the level permitted by the New York City Noise Code. Once the state liquor authority license is obtained, the community board may call upon the applicant to address any concerns that may arise. There will be at least 20% visibility of the establishment by the applicant agrees that since changes in method of operation will give notice to the community board committee at least 45 days in advance of any such change. When the applicant changes the method of operation, uses the backyard, they must come back to the community board and notify us of that change. The applicant agreed, the motion passed unanimously. Please, I need a second. Any questions? Steve?
Yeah, I'm still confused about the backyard. Are we talking that the way it sounds to me is that he could just kind of just turn around and use the backyard? And it seems to me that he has to come to us again, and I think that has to be exclusive.
It is, when the applicant changes method of operation, uses the backyard, they must come back to back to community board and notify us of that change.
Now, the way that's written, it's when, okay? And then he comes back to it. I'd rather it was written the other way, that it has to come back to us first before he does something like that. Because the technicality of it is the real.
So it should say has to be.
It's just that prior to doing anything, he must come back to it. And you cannot use it back unless it comes back before the first.
We've been there. Thank you. Any other questions? Good points. Any questions from the public? Question, all those in favor? Everything. Opposed? Refusal? Next item, new SLA one-year site license application at Miro Sushi Incorporated, 533 86th Street. The applicant, Hong Chen, and his son Jerry Chen, were present on scene. The location is currently operating as a restaurant. The hours of operation are Monday through Sunday, 11:30 a.m. to 10 p.m. There is only background music. The establishment will have a maximum occupancy of 7 floors. There are 3 tables with 12 seats and 1 bar with 8 seats. Deliveries are done through delivery services such as Grubhub, DoorDash. The applicant did provide the name with photos. There is no outdoor use. After a discussion period, the committee's recommendation motion is to deny the applicant unless the applicant agrees to the following stipulation. The premise will be operated as a restaurant. There will be no sale of consumption of alcohol on premises until the appropriate issued by the state liquor authority. Applicants will not serve or operate your own booths until their license is obtained. The owner or manager will be on site during all hours of operation. The hours of operation will be Monday through Sunday, 11:30 a.m. to 10 p.m. There will be no smoking permitted. There will be no outdoor music. The doors and windows remain closed with amplified music. Background recorded indoor music sound will remain below the level permitted by the New York City noise code. Once the state liquor authority likes to obtain the committee will need more than all upon them to address any concerns that may arise. They'll do this 20% visibility view into the establishment at a high level. The applicant agrees that she has changed its method of operation, will give notice to meet with the community board committee on 45 days in advance of any such change. The applicant agrees the motion passes unanimously. Need a second? Moving on. Discussion.
Yeah, I heard you use the word booze in there.
Booze?
You said that,
Bring your own booze.
bring your own.
BYOB.
BYOB and all of this.
Yes, BYOB. Any other questions? Any questions? All those in favor? Opposed? Thank you.
Thank you. And now the next 2 items, please welcome Jack Zhang from our Traffic and Transportation Committee.
Okay, so the Traffic and Transportation Committee met in virtual forum on Tuesday, May 15th, to discuss application 2025-0414-030001 from Panino Rosico restaurant, located at 8901 Third Avenue for sidewalk cafe on Third Avenue for 4 tables and 8 seats, and on 89th Street for 8 tables and 16 seats. The district office noted that there have been 4 3-1 homes since 2023, when the location was first opened, and each were closed out without further issue. There were some discussion over whether 89th Street was a private street, so there was some clarification required there. But this was their firm with the borough hall, and the district office will be clarifying this with DOT. We believe the DOT provided incorrect information there. We had a motion to deny this application unless the applicant agrees to follow stipulations. I will read this out and then get a second. Number 1, a restaurant shall meet with the committee board in case of future issues raised by the committee. Outdoor activity areas shall close by 11 p.m. Sunday through Thursday, and 12 p.m. midnight Friday and Saturday, irrespective of hours. Restaurants shall use only ambient lighting and shall observe DOT outdoor dining regulations regarding electric lighting. Restaurants shall enforce no smoking regulations in all outdoor areas and shall observe NYC fire department codes, including no barbecue, no open flames, and no fire pits. Smoking, including but not limited to cigars, pipes, cigarettes, electronic cigarettes, marijuana, and smokeless tobacco shall not be permitted in any outdoor cafe area. Signs necessary to comply with this requirement must be prominent and conspicuously posted in those areas, and ashtrays shall be prohibited. Number 5, outdoor cafe areas must have seated food service and not be used for storage. Outdoor areas, number 6, outdoor areas must be kept clean overnight, and furniture must be secured at night. Number 7, pest and rodent control shall be applied in all outdoor cafe areas. Number 8, restaurants shall observe NYC code regulations and enforce these regulations among children. Number 9, restaurants shall not reserve or block free parking spaces for valet parking or other uses of any means, including but not limited to cones, signs, curb markings that are detailed in the traffic rules of New York City, 4-087. And number 10, restaurants shall not permit staff, valet services, or delivery vendors to block crosswalks, adjacent bus stops, or any other restricted practices. Do I have a second? Any discussion? Any discussion? What's the report? All in favor? Any opposed? Abstention for you. Second item on the agenda, the TNT committee met in May 2025 with applicant Senior Brandon Kenny to discuss their application to co-name 71st Street and 11th Avenue, east side for Rosa. Following that, the committee met. We met in April 2025. Following that, the committee met on May 15th to discuss the application further. The committee again noted no opposition on the co-naming as discussed and the general committee support was quite present. Let me read that. The committee again noted no opposition on the co-naming application, and the committee recommended approval of this application. If the committee board decides to approve this application, the application will then be forwarded to the city council in time for the fall review of renaming and co-naming applications. So I have another motion here, motion to approve application submitted by Senior Brandon Kenny to co-name the east side of 71st Street at 11th Avenue for a liquor center. I just want to mention that Rosa's family is here. I would like to recognize them if they would like to make a comment on the application. Rosa, second. Sorry.
And that every school within District 20 knew, loved, and respected your mother. Whether they have programs there or not, there were many years she helped with penny harvest throughout the district. She was so widely known and widely loved and deeply missed. We are so sorry for your loss. We extend our love and respect to you and your family and are pleased to have this opportunity to honor her in such a way.
Any further comments?
First, my family, I was there, so the board. And I've been on the board, getting close to 10 years. And street naming is actually my favorite thing. With street naming, with somebody who actually met and saw how they worked and how hard they worked. And I'm sorry for all the hours she probably was away from your family and how she enriched other families. So I'm absolutely glad you're here today. And I'm sure for years to come, if God give me grace and I'm on the board, street maintenance will be my favorite thing. But meeting him mother in action was something to behold and something to admire. So thank you very much.
Motion to approve application submitted by Center for Independence to donate the east side of 71st Street and 11th Avenue for Robert Casella. All in favor? Any opposed? Abstention? Motion passes.
Thank you so much, and thank you for the presentation. Thank you. We want to take a moment to also recognize that Jessica Powell is here this evening from Brooklyn. And next we will go on to welcome Stephanie Simone Nahidi to speak with us about an issue that was brought to zoning and land use. He is here for an informational report. After she gives her report, we know we have members of the public who would like to speak about this issue. Good evening, everyone. The Zoning and Land Use Committee met in person at the district office and virtually on Zoom on Wednesday, May 14th at 7 p.m. Committee met in virtual form. At the May 14th meeting of the Zoning and Land Use Committee, the primary agenda item was the proposed zoning map amendment for 464 Ovington Avenue, located within the Bay Ridge Special District. The applicant, Lisa Masood, also a CB10 member, and his legal team from Sheldon LaBelle, PC, presented a request to rezone the site into adjacent lots from an R3X to an R6A. The proposed rezoning would increase the allowable floor area ratio, FAR, from approximately 0.5 to 0.9, which is under the R3X, to a maximum of 3.9 under the R6A with mandatory inclusionary housing. This would permit the construction of an 8-story building, 6 stories at the street wall with a 2-story setback, rising to a total height of 85 feet. And this is 10 feet below the R6A maximum of 95 feet. The proposed building would include approximately 36,000 square feet of residential floor area, containing 40 rental units, 25% of which would be permanently affordable under the mandatory inclusionary housing option 1, which would be at or below 60% of the area median income. The structure would be set back approximately 15 feet from the front property line, aligned with the neighboring buildings. The upper 2 floors, floor 7 and 8, would be further set back by an additional 10 feet, totaling a 25-foot setback from the street wall. At the rear, the site allows for a 65-foot deep yard, which the applicant described as unusually generous for this type of development. And the proposal also includes 18 on-site parking spaces, exceeding the minimum zoning requirement, and also includes amenities such as a ground floor gym. The development site encompasses 3 lots. The main lot to be redeveloped, which is 464, a 6-story co-op to the west, so if you're looking at the building, that's to your right, which is 460 Overton Avenue, and a 3-story multifamily rental to the east. The proposal includes a partial rezoning of the adjacent lots to bring them into compliance under R6A bulk regulation. According to the applicant, no redevelopment is anticipated for either the co-op, which already exceeds the bulk permitted in the R6B, and would become compliant under the R6A, while the rental contains rent-regulated units and does not offer a viable redevelopment scenario. In addition, the proposed zoning boundary would extend slightly into narrow portions of 4 lots fronting Fifth Avenue, primarily to align zoning boundaries more consistently. However, due to split lot zoning regulations and minimal affected area, no new development is expected on those sites.
We go through some of the committee concerns and then concerns from the public and then ask anyone present if they'd like to add to that. So the committee members raised several concerns regarding the proposal. The first is building height and precedent. Many members expressed that the proposed 8-story height was excessive for the block and could set a precedent for future rezonings along Littleton Avenue, particularly given existing zoning restrictions and the character of the street. The unit mix, several members emphasized the need for more 2-bedroom units to better serve the family-oriented community. For lot line construction and its impact on neighbors, the proposed building would be constructed to the lot line, raising concerns about light and air blockage for adjacent buildings, especially in neighboring co-op and side windows, and then there are terraces on the other side. The rezoning versus variance. So some question why a full rezoning was being pursued rather than variance from board standards and appeals, noting the potential broader impact of zoning changes. Parking and traffic. Although the proposal exceeded the parking requirement, committee members noted the block's congestion, already impacted by nearby schools and forthcoming high school, and questioned the sufficiency of 18 spaces for a 40-unit building. Affordability. Questions were raised about the actual affordability of the proposed rents, especially in light of neighborhoods' traditionally moderate housing costs. There was also concern that inclusionary housing would not adequately offset increases in market rate prices. The permanence of zoning change and the risk of property transfer. A major concern expressed by the committee was that although the current applicant has ties to the community, gave no indication of selling. I want to emphasize that there was no indication that this property would transfer. A future sale could lead to a developer taking over the site. Because zoning changes are permanent, any future owner would be able to build as of right under the new R6A designation and would not need to return to the community board for review or approval. The committee emphasized that while they are reviewing the specifics of this proposal, they must also weigh the long-term implications of the zoning action itself, independent of the current applicant's intentions. For concerns from the public, several residents and board members from 460 Oakland, the neighboring co-op building, spoke during the meeting. Their concerns included these. Residents noted they had not been informed about the inclusion of their property in the rezoning application and asked for formal notification and dialogue. Also, the proposed bulk would significantly reduce airflow and sunlight to their units, particularly those with window space in the proposed site. Given the age of their building, which was constructed in 1931, residents were concerned about potential structural damage during excavation and construction. Residents emphasized the street's current strain due to existing schools and the new high school under construction, warning of additional development of overwhelming infrastructure. Multiple speakers expressed concern that rezoning would trigger a wave of applications from other property owners, fundamentally altering the neighborhood's scale and historic character. Residents were also skeptical about the affordability component, noting that the price that was stated is for non-restricted units. So for a non-restricted unit in the new building, it would be $2,600 monthly for a studio. And this far exceeds typical local pricing and can drive up overall housing costs. And in response to the questions and concerns, these are the action steps proposed. The applicant team committed to reaching out formally to the adjacent property owners and co-op board. They agreed to revisit the unit mix to consider increasing the number of 2-bedroom requirements. They offered to review the design and consider a greater upper floor setback or reduced height if feasible, while emphasizing the constraints of lot depth and zoning purposes. In response to concerns about lot line construction, building mass, blocking of adjacent windows, and overall impacts on light and air for neighboring buildings, the applicant team stated they would review any feasible changes, such as greater setbacks or design cutouts to mitigate these effects. Committee members decided to delay any vote or recommendation until after the full board meeting in May, where additional public input would be welcome. A second committee meeting will be scheduled prior to the June full board meeting to reassess committee feedback, applicant responses, and potential revisions to the proposal. And committee members were encouraged to submit follow-up questions and suggestions to be compiled and forwarded to the applicant for consideration. So the motion, which was introduced and passed by the committee, but I will read a second, is to allow the additional public input at the general board meeting on May 20th, on May 19th, excuse me. For a formal recommendation or decision until after this meeting, and reconvene the committee in June to review all new information and determine whether to support or oppose the zoning change. So do I have a second for that motion? Steve? Okay. Any discussion now or questions
questions. And if there's questions, please verify the board member. And then members of the public can follow the board. Any, opinions?
I just was wondering, what would be able to build there without using much? Because I see the building next door, looks like it's 6 floors, and then the one you're referencing, that's the co-ops, is next door with the apartments, it's 3 floors. So,
If my memory serves me correctly, the 3. Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
and.
It would be a 3-story building, which you leave.
Hi, Pam Tom from Children with Disabilities speaking for the applicant. So as of right, and our 3 items in favor, it would be a 3-story. The 6-story was, free, exactly. So, the proposed rezoning would put it more into compliance. That's why it's included in the boundary. But as of right.
Any other questions from the board? No?
First of all, the 25%, we need more affordable housing, and also affordable economic really. Like the AMI, like how is that going to determine? So I know I need to, you can't hear me? And so the AMI, is determined, including like a level suburb outside of the city, but kind of throws it off. I know the housing lottery, but, people need not like $250,000 to qualify for it. And people in the lower section of income outside, like I don't make enough for affordable housing. I'm excluded from all the affordable housing options here. I don't make enough. I'm excluded. Yeah, that's like the lowest, is like $90,000 a month. And if you make $90,000, you don't really need affordable housing. You know, there should be here more towards like working class people, because that's the main reason the neighborhood is. And it's also housing like this that has destroyed other things, like that's, really for, you know, all over the place.
I just wanted to add some clarification. This is from the information that we were given, but it's incorrect. No, but there are 10 units, and then 4 are allocated for very low income, which is 40% of AMI, and is that correct? And then 2 at 60%, and then another 4 at 80%. That was from the materials. I don't want to misspeak. I'm looking at the table. It is this, and that was it. Okay.
We get the firm.
That was in your secret. So there are 4 units at 40%, so a studio would be $1,000. Two units at 60% of AMI, so that would be $1,630 a month. And then another 4 units at 8% of AMI, which would be $2,170 for a studio.
What would be the income requirement?
So the way this is listed, and if we're looking at a 1-person household, because they give 1 person versus a 4-person. So the 40% of AMI, the income would be $43,480. The next 60% at $65,220, and at 80% $86,960. And that's a single person household. Those are the income thresholds.
I would follow.
right, I don't want to sound stupid, but I'm confused. I thought you said the proposal was for 8 stories.
Yes.
This young lady just said 3 stories. So I'm, okay. Also, the other thing is, the only reason you'd want to rezone something is so you can future build more. That's the only reason for it. So I would be against it personally, but that's my opinion.
Just to clarify, there was a question from the floor, Danielle. What would the property owner put in place at that site if the rezoning weren't granted?
So it would be a three-story building, that would be as that, okay. Okay, I see. And of course, rezoning for this particular site is so that the owner can build beyond the three-story building to the eight-story.
This is more of a comment about I guess it was a comment about, 2 bedrooms, would be maybe more useful for studios. I'd say 3 bedrooms would be really, really useful if they were there, are no renovated 3 bedrooms in the hall if they would look and look and look, there are literally 0 bedrooms. So for any developers who are looking for student living, please go look at 3 bedrooms. It's like, I have 3 children in 1 bedroom. So, we get a little bit of a well, but we would love to have 3 bedrooms.
I also was wondering, is there any historical significance or any the replacing?
More confirmation, yeah.
No. Board members, I know they're, oh, sorry.
So since there's no potential rezoning between 3 stories and 8 stories,
He asked,
I don't want to speak for the team, but we asked about an R6B, which would be the same as the properties on one side of it. But I don't think that maximizes the FAR. I think that they and like to,
We can re-examine it.
said that they will re-examine it and address it. Our suggestion. Just.
I guess I just want to clarify, what is it that you want to build there? Maybe, I don't know, like, what is it you actually want to build there? And then, because there's no clarity around what is actually being proposed there.
I'm sorry if my report wasn't specific, but the summary, it's an 8-story building of 40 units, 10 of which will be included under mandatory inclusionary housing. That's an 8-story building. This is with a maximum FAR of 3.9, which is increase. Is that clear? Sure.
When it's rezoned, they do plan on building these buildings, not that they just asking for rezoning and potentially.
That is correct. The idea that they would like, my understanding, it was very clear, they would like to build an 8-story building, hence the request for the rezoning.
I guess the follow-up question is, what does that zoning allow for, the rezoning they're asking for, like what height?
The rezoning that they're requesting is an R6A. The maximum height is 95 feet. They're actually proposing a building that goes to 85 feet, so 10 feet below the maximum. Any others?
If I'm not wrong, I think the concern is that they're going to say 85 and then build 95. Okay, so is there any way that we can put a stipulation in there to say that we agree to the rezoning on condition that they do not go more than 85? I'm not sure we can do that.
We're not going to be voting on it this evening, so that can be part of our discussion during the next committee meeting.
All right.
I was just wondering if you, yeah.
If I'd like to move on to the public, we have Molly Jackson.
One of the things that brought me to this neighborhood, brought me down to Bay Ridge, was the aesthetic of Bay Ridge. My concern is not just for my building, but for the neighborhood around it. It's changing, it's developing. Ovington, that spot, especially so, with the new high school, all the schools, all the changes. And I think we all need to take a minute and decide what we want our neighborhood to be, what we want the community to be. And if we want to make this change to be like, frankly, a lot of Brooklyn and a lot of Manhattan and a lot of other parts of the city. We're different, we stand out for that reason, and I would like to stay there. Thank you.
Nick?
Hi, everyone. I'm Nick DeSeckley. I'm also a resident of 460 Oakington. I just want to thank everyone for letting me speak tonight. Thank you to the committee the other night for letting us speak there as well. I just want to quickly reiterate the concerns that we raised that night. As mentioned, we are a 5-story plus basement building. To the next door to this lot, we were built in 1931. So we did raise a question about the security and safety of our foundation being a nearly 100-year-old building, with the excavation for the parking garage in the basement. We also raised concerns about airflow and light. 2 of our lines have windows that face directly into what would be a wall, according to the plan that they showed at the meeting. I provided Josephine earlier this weekend a photo of that cutout from our building, so she can provide that to everyone as well. You can see living rooms and kitchens would basically be put into complete darkness if that went out. We also raised the concern of congestion on our narrow avenue. Oakington is a 60-foot street. We have 2 elementary schools, an elementary school annex. As you all know, we soon have the high school. We have basically a parking lot between 7:30 in the morning and 9 and 2 in the afternoon to 4. There's no movement whatsoever. So adding another 8-story building, adding 18 more parking spaces and garage access, it becomes very congested. And of course, the precedent that we set by rezoning this lot. There's 4 other lots that are currently open along Oakington Avenue, as well as across the street from our building, 2 or 3, maybe even 4 3-story 3-family homes, which all would certainly love to be turned into a 99-story building if possible. So really just wanted to reiterate all of that. Again, we don't want to stand in East's way. We have a meeting scheduled sometime next week, so we're going to sit down and talk with him. But, you know, we want something that makes sense for our block. We want something that makes sense for the community. And in our opinion, as of right now, an 8-story building does not make sense. Thank you.
This is about my, I think in my report, I said it's a 6-story building, where, it lives, it was 5 stories, was the baseline, but it's 5 stories above ground, so that type of rentals between 5 stories and 8 stories. Terrence?
I am Terrence Sumner. I'm the president of the board at the club at 460 Oakington. Thank you very much for allowing me the time to speak. Most of everything that's been said so far has already been covered. I just want to point out one or 2 things, which is 1, I teach right by the Manhattan Bridge, and a giant high-rise one up. You can all see it mars the sky. Okay, and it's an eyesore in the neighborhood. The kids in our playground now playing in the shadow. And stuff like I lived in Fort Greene before Barclays and all those high rises went up. There was 1 building there. They made an exception, they let it build, and then suddenly tons of buildings flew up in that neighborhood. And I moved out to Bay Ridge because I love the scale of the neighborhood. It's 5-story, 6-story, well, 6-floor buildings at most. It's a family neighborhood. And suddenly to see that an 8-story building is going to throw up against our building kind of was a shock. And when I thought about the congestion that's going to occur on the block, which has already been mentioned, I rode during COVID, I rode my bicycle on almost every block in the neighborhood just to check it out. And I see that our block has become the most congested block between 4th and 5th Avenue in the entire neighborhood, if this is an 8-story building. I am happy to see that the lot is going to be developed, and I hope it's done successfully. But I think it's important that we work together to do something that's a lot more reasonable than 8-story buildings. The impact is just too much. And 2 construction projects, the high school construction project, which includes a parking area that looked like a stable, the Zark building that's still standing, the house next to the Zark building, and then on top of that, we have an historic building getting built around the same time. I think it's just a bit much, right? And so, hopefully we can work that out. Thank you all for your consideration.
Thank you, residents, for speaking, and certainly your comments and our previous discussion. Is there anyone else from the public? No?
Members of the board, we're right across the buildings for the building. We're now, it's kind of short period of time, like a lot of stuff is going on in the neighborhood. The school construction, with all this, want to build a school there. We get to see the impact of that on the people around the area. And now we talk about the new buildings that come up. You know, it's gonna be much for the neighborhoods like that. I mean, I moved to Baybridge, I have a house right here. The house that he just mentioned is my house. And now some of the schools built right there. I mean, right now at this moment, every day I go home, he was blocking my driveway, emergency vehicle can't go by. And this is a daily thing, it's not good. Sometimes I have to walk around, I stop for half an hour. I don't want to bother police to walk every few days, calling them everything. They don't have to why. I mean, what can I do? And right now, we're gonna have this building up, 4 units, 50 parking, where the rest is gonna be parked. I mean, it's gonna make the place worse. You have emergency vehicles gonna go by. You know, big truck, how do people pass by? Yeah, I heard about my driveway to duck one, I couldn't imagine how people gonna go and stuff happen. We now have almost literally 5 schools with that 500 feet perimeter, whatever it is. And I will have this, I will have those big properties like I mentioned. What's stopping them from rezoning? Right, this is gonna happen. They should be allowed to rezone. Am I allowed to rezone my property as well? I might as well go down 5-10 story. You know, this is gonna change the whole neighborhood like this. Like, this can happen. We have to start. I love to see something going on, but something for the community. Not for the outside coming in, suddenly take over the people. So.
Community board members who's involved with this project, not an outsider, so very interested in the community. Anyone else from the community? I'd like to call the question, I don't know if you all remember what the motion. We need to see if there's been any impact that or see if it's ever not been together. Let me read the motion again. Yeah. Very straightforward. The motion passes to allow for additional public input at the general board meeting on May 19th. To defer formal recommendation or decision until after this meeting, and to reconvene the committee in June to review all new information and determine whether to support or oppose the change. All those in favor? Any opposed? Recusals or abstentions? Okay, the motion, oh, I'm sorry. You got it? All right, the motion passes. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Stephanie, for always a very well-informed report. Thank you. And thank you to our members of the public who came here to share their experiences. Thank you. So now it is time for my chair report. So once again, good evening and welcome to our May 2025 Community Board 10 meeting. This month we have the opportunity to welcome new members to our board. Please join me in welcoming back Stacy Dietrich this year. Michael Collins is here. Elizabeth Stephen Lane, Elizabeth Lovejoy, and Romeo Patrick. May I ask each of you please come up? Yes, come up, please come up. Thank you. We do have a tradition. You do get paid when you come. So we want to welcome each of you, and one other thing, you have to get, Dorothy has to take the photos. Thank you. Michael Thomas. So please, come on. Thank you so much. Your selection sets you apart as someone who is already active and involved in our neighborhood. You are joining a hardworking group of volunteers to make up our board. You will be getting lots of emails from our district manager, Josephine Beckman, and our community coordinator, Dorothy Lucio. They are both just a phone call or email away, and they are our greatest resources and assets. Your presence at committee meetings is vitally important. That is where you get to have the deeper discussion and make a motion for the full board to vote. I ask our experienced board members to welcome our new members to your committees and help answer any questions they might have. We invite all board members to join us at 6 p.m. at our June meeting for light refreshments to socialize before our general meeting and get to know one another. It's important to have this mix of voices to enliven and inform our discussions. As board members, we are called upon to act as a liaison with city agencies. We get to provide feedback on proposals, projects, and services within our board. But we do not make the decisions as to what projects can happen in our community. That comes from our city agencies. Our role is really in providing feedback. A recent example of this happened just last week at our traffic and transportation meeting, which I know you will hear more about in Chair Jack Thane's report. This was an informational meeting where DOT shared their proposed list of 55 docking stations. Now, the community board was not given prior notification of the list of stations. Our role is to ensure that DOT comes and shares this publicly. And that was the purpose of the presentation to the Traffic and Transportation Committee. The number of stations was never shared at the DOT announcement of the expansion last winter or with the interactive map online from January to April. Prior to the March 15th meeting, DOT had to notify residents individually, not the community board manager or committee, about the locations. Of those people who received notification of the city bike station coming to their location, about 8 reached out to the district manager because they were concerned that the locations where they did their work were not good ones. The expansion of city bike is a city initiative, and it is citywide. It is not something that originates from the community board or limited to our community. There is now 1 month to provide feedback on this proposed plan within community board 10, and Jeff will fill you in on this during his report. Once again, our board has benefited from the dedicated service of many individuals, and we'd like to again take a moment to extend our appreciation to our retiring former board chair, Lori Willis, and board member Michael Vesta. Thank you again for your service. We also thank members Lisa Lee Kai, Jackie Long, and Paulette Thompson for their service to our community, and we welcome our new members. We have work to do. We encourage everyone to be an active and informed member of our board and take pride in our community service. Thank you. Respectfully submitted, Chamber of Commerce. We welcome our district manager, Josephine Beckman. Thank you. Again, on behalf of the district office, we'd also like to welcome our board to work with you. Today I want to share with you that I spoke to Captain Cesaro, the command officer of the 68th precinct, regarding an increase in the number of calls from concerned residents and parents about speeding mopeds and scooters in our local parks and playgrounds, including Shore Road Promenade, JJ Party Park, Russell Peterson Playground, and the Fort Hamilton Athletic Field.
We also received concerns about speeding along Shore Road and fireworks at the Fort Hamilton Athletic Field and Shore Road parking and tennis courts around 99th Street. Our community board inbox was filled this morning with emails from parents about activity that happened this week and pleas from students at Fort Hamilton hoping that the athletic field will be restored, because right now, Parks is working on it, and I'm assured by the New York City Parks Department, they're working very hard to make the repairs that took place this past weekend. I also want to share with you that CB10 will once again be participating in the New York City Department of Youth and Community Development's Ladders for Leaders Summer Youth Employment Program. And we will have 2 summer interns assigned to the district office. Both students are interested in local government. I had an opportunity to meet them last week, and we're looking forward to spending the summer with them and learning about the community board as much as we're excited to learn from them. The district office also received many calls over the last few days from the calls about the former site of Kentucky Fried Chicken, 9201 Fifth Avenue. If you're in the area, you may have noticed fencing that was erected in preparation of demolition of the main structure and former KFC building. The site was purchased by a Texas-based real estate investment firm, Accelerate, and serves as landlord for EVgo, which is a vehicle fast charging network. EVgo, as reported in today's Cranes, is considered the nation's largest fast charging public network for electric vehicles. Many of our calls were whether or not the board would be having a hearing about this. And as I've explained, and will explain today for those who are listening on live stream, electric vehicle charging stations are permitted as of right in C1 and C2 overlay districts. And these were recent changes that were made in the city of Yes for carbon neutrality. EV charging stations do not require community board review, but of course, we can reach out and perhaps have an informational presentation from the applicants when they are ready. The 68th Precinct Community Council has asked that we remind you all that their meeting will take place this Wednesday, May 21st, 7 p.m. at the Knights of Columbus, 1305 86th Street. The Memorial Day Parade Committee also reached out to ask that we once again share that the parade will take place this year, Monday, May 26th on Memorial Day. And the parade steps off at 11 a.m. on 3rd Avenue at 78th Street. And the route is along 3rd Avenue to parade up to 4th and over to 101st Street for a memorial service at John Paul Jones Park. Information on the parade is also available on our website. New York State DOT also contacted the district office to advise us that there will be intermittent full-lane closures on the westbound Kiwanis Expressway in the vicinity of exit 19 at 86th Street, and closure of the entrance ramp from 79th Street to the westbound Kiwanis in Brooklyn on or about tomorrow, Tuesday, May 20th, beginning at midnight and will continue through 3 a.m. Intermittent entrance ramp closures are expected to begin at 3 a.m. and continue through that time of 7 a.m. The Fun on Fifth Avenue Festival will take place on Sunday, June 1st, from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. And early voting will be here before we know it, before the next board meeting, and that runs from Saturday, June 14th, and it goes through June 22nd. Information about early voting is also available on our website, as well as the voter registration deadline for the primary election will be Saturday, June 14th, 2025. Jessica is here from the Brooklyn Borough President's Office, and she asked that I share. She left some flyers on the table that the Borough President is seeking nominations for students for the Borough President's 2025 Graduation Awards, and there is a bit.ly, bit.ly/BKBP Grad Awards 2025. So if you have young people that you'd like to nominate, please do so. And our next meeting of Community Board 10 will be held on Monday, June 16th, 7 p.m. at the Knights of Columbus. Respectfully submitted. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And now we will have our treasurer report. Please welcome Stephanie Simone-Mahoney.
Report as of April 30th, 2025. Total personal services, $230,023.53. Total other than personal services, $12,982.41, leaving an unencumbered budget balance of $47,119.06. Thank you.
My dears, that's the first question on the president's report.
Thank you. Thank you. Every penny counts. Next, we will move on to our committee reports. Please welcome the Traffic and Transportation Committee, Chair Jack Van.
So before I get started, you can go to nyc.gov/bike share to see DOT's presentation. So, if you're with that on your phone to see their presentation. May 15th, the TNC committee received an update on DOT's city bike expansion plan within CET. City bike currently has over 2,000 stations across Manhattan, Queens, the Bronx, and Brooklyn, and is accessible by 55% of New Yorkers. With the current expansion, including the central defenses, will increase to 7%. Since the program launched 12 years ago, there have been over 260 million trips and over 44 million in 2024. This is resulting from 3.4 trips per day per bike and over 150,000 daily trips in peak months. City Bike has 175,000 members in 2020. From the 6 stations installed in CD10 in March 2021, along the Lake Erickson Park, City Bike has there have been 114,350 trips to date, with 16 trips per station per day average, peaking into 21 trips per day per station. The median duration from those 6 is just over 16 minutes. Median duration for each trip. DOT's expansion plan tries to ensure station accessibility such that within a given area, you are no more than 3 to 5 minutes. Stations are also not the same size, and demand and so will vary in number of stops per station. For instance, there will be more stops per station near subway stations and parks in fewer than residential areas, but the coverage density is the same to maintain that 3 to 5 minute walk. DOT is planning an expansion of 50 stations in Bay Ridge, specifically within Bay Ridge, not diagrams. They collected over 700 pieces of feedback over the spring on potential sites and canvassed the neighborhood to consider technical viability, which in essence means to ensure site viability in terms of hydrants, utility, daylighting, sidewalk availability. With the 50 stations, they are looking for additional feedback and information on each site and installation will be. Stations fall into 4 categories: on-street typical, on-street pedestrianized or daylit, and on-site. 20 of those 50 are on-street, 21 are on-street typical, 6 are on-street but all pedestrianized or daylit area, and 3 are to be determined. The full plan, as I mentioned, is available at nmc.gov/bike-share. The 6 spots that are on-street but in pedestrianized or daylit locations do not take away any spots, any parking spots, and City Bike provides additional visibility that allows the spots to be maintained as daylit spots as opposed to the parking moved to development. This means that the 21 on-street typical locations will also increase street visibility if they were to go into place, and that also means they estimate about 2 parking spots per on-street, so about 42 parking spots. Comments on the committee as well as the public were wide-ranging, and as requested by the DOT, committee constructed comments remark on specific locational challenges. For instance, the placement at Shore Road and 4th and 3rd Ave and Bank were potentially dangerous locations due to connection to the parkway and regular street placements, or others that the stations are too close to schools, which may cause operation challenges. Other comments suggested different locations, such as the station at Tom McDonald's, and highlighted gaps on 5th Avenue or gaps along Shore in the 90s, as there's no bus connection to get some areas. The TNC committee will revisit the topic in June 2025 or June 10th, 2025, to gather and consider more directed feedback to the DOT regarding spending plan decisions. Any further to come to the June 10th meeting? Or would like to comment directly? It's on Zoom and also the conference. But in the, so I recommend looking at the presentation itself, the number, the dots, provide comments around like, those numbering. So if you say, okay, dot number 10 is the terrible location because that's why deviations, that'll be very low too.
That was a lot of information, but I'm just curious, when were they asking for community input? Because that is, I never heard of it.
Yeah, so basically what they've been doing since winter this past year, around January or so. January to April, they had an open portal, where, you know, there was some hundreds of comments around potential good location and potential bad locations, potentially like a, this spot is useful because it's near the ferry, or this spot is useful because it's their park. And that roughly took place from January to, so like about a month or so ago. Before then, they were also looking at specific intersections to make sure there was a technically viable at all. So are there any spots available within every single intersection across Stevens Town? And then last Thursday, when they presented the full one, and so now opened up the commentary period about a month or so. I like to direct the commentary period on the full.
So, do we know, I mean, I know. Do we know, like, I just feel like this kind of went over everyone's head, and also, at this point, we didn't know what comments would be made, change anything, and then since the whole was, we do an overlay now of all the spaces that they've taken for loading and everything recently as well, and see where we're losing more space.
Yeah, and we can have a list of loading zones, we could do potential analysis, for next time. But I will say, the view that this was coming from the plan perspective at the very beginning of this year, and I did provide feedback back to the board when they did say, hey, the board is open in terms of comments. But once again, they only gave us a plan last week.
Right.
And that's where the commentary period started.
I did receive a list from DOT late Friday, just in that. So what I'm working on now to be working against the busy, I'm gonna take those locations that were announced, and I will make an Excel spreadsheet with a link that will take you to the location of where the proposal is. And then we'll email that out and post it on the website. So if you have specific comments about those locations, and provide them feedback.
Firstly, is that all 50 locations?
All 50 locations. Yeah, so we got a map.
It's on it, yeah, it's on the.
It's online now, but I don't know if there's a corresponding like Excel spreadsheet. I think it's just a map.
Well,
So I'm gonna take the map and we'll make a list of 50 and, you know, we'll link so you can press on it and so you can see where they are.
Yeah, Jack, I'm just a little bit confused. At least 3 times you mentioned the fact about someone would be located in a park and things of that nature. But since bikes aren't allowed in parks, why is that important thing? Why would they do that?
Yeah, so the question was, I mentioned parks multiple different times in both the actual commentary as well as the full commentary. Generally speaking, if you look at the comments online on the portal, parks were a big destination. There was a lot like positive, like, hey, there should be a dot location here near a park, right? So then the idea there would be, if you're a resident, it's very easy to bike to a park. Therefore, town might be accessible.
I'm sorry.
As a destination, the dot is always surrounding.
I'm really glad to make that remark about the portal, because you said about 700 people sent in comments. How many people have been there? So 140,000, 700 comments, not good, reception.
Right.
And a lot of seniors that I talked to over the past months, not one of them have heard about it before. And I was like shocked, but at the same time, I'm glad you mentioned that, because it's like a disservice to the neighborhood. If it's a senior neighborhood and you're bringing these bikes in, but I'm not anti-bike. I want to get that out there first. I'm I can't believe how many docking stations and how many spots you want to take away, not correct the situation. which is not fair. And we have all these other companies, where people, I'm around the corner from Josephine's office, and sometimes I'll be standing on the corner talking to somebody, and I'll say to myself, wow, 3 cars just ran late, about 10 motorcycles, a whole bunch of bikes, where's the police, no enforcement, and now we want to get more. And yes, I understand there's a need for it, people like, I know you like toy bikes, some big things in there. There is a need for it, yes, but 50 or 49 is acceptable. And it's not fair to the people who have help, because now when you mention something, then you can't unsee it. So I've been walking around different parts of the city, and where there are bikes in front of houses, like if somebody's outside, I'm like, I don't have any bikes out there, I hate it. Because somebody will drop something 2 o'clock in the morning, there's a mess, they'll leave stuff on the ground, I'm gonna get a ticket. So we want to say to the company, all right, you want to come in and make these changes, and I have stated this before, when I moved to Bay Ridge, one of the first things I had to do was give my car away, because back then it was a lot of work, and I worked at the building, got home 12:30 at night, and could not park. And then I told my boss and said, okay, get the new car, we'll pay for it, I hate paying on the car, but when I hear people say, oh, let's all get together, and I'll say, oh, maybe you got great restaurant, we'll like this, my friend, no. Yeah, we don't want to drive for an hour, we don't want to lose reservation, come to my neighborhood. My mother lives in Redmond, and her doctor's in Vegas, and I have to use car service to get me back and forth. It has become a nightmare for me. And it's not fair that we in this room know what's coming when there's a bunch of seniors that have no idea what they're going to get or what the car giants. So, if there's a way to say, okay, you want to come in, fine, but you've got to decrease that number. You've got to bring that number down, because I want to live in a neighborhood. I don't want to live in a neighborhood that is like a parking lot for bikes for kids. So, there's got to be some kind of compromise. This is unfair, and, I'm telling my friends, and the first thing they say, are you kidding? Crossing the street is a nightmare already. I'm sure, because nobody's following the rules. When I was a kid, if I got a bike, I had to take 5 classes when I was home. It was like this whole different, way of life. But now, in Love Bay Ridge, I don't plan on leaving. I hope I can stay, till the end. But this is not fair. I came here as a middle class person, and like middle age, and now in my 70s, and I cannot believe every time I have to leave my house, I always have to say, I hope I can get from point A to point B safe. This is not fair to the seniors. These people have put in years, they put the neighborhoods, they invested, and it's not fair to them that they don't know the extent of this. And I don't know another way for people who are not media savvy to get all this information to get their input. It is not fair to them. That's all I have to say.
My concern is not just the amount of city bike stations that they want, but in addition, the loading zones that suddenly popped up that we'd be concerned about. Additionally, correct me if I'm wrong, sorry about that. I think you mentioned, somebody mentioned they're going to take away space from each corner. Daylighting. So now what's going to happen? There's going to be no parking at all. We always joke around real estate, park slow, no park slow, because you can't park there. Now we're gonna be like, no parking in Bay Ridge. It's a huge problem, huge problem. And, it's not fair to the residents, really. And the fact that the DOT can just decide our neighborhood, what they want to do in our neighborhood. This is our neighborhood. We have to stand up. And we have to say, we have to speak out and against it. Having some, yes, we want some bikes, fine. Put them on the sidewalk then, not on the street. There's plenty of places that they can. Sorry.
Just to clarify the numbers I stated, so that was the last one that you mentioned, 20 will be an option for the sidewalks, 21 of them will be on street typical. In the current, obviously, we can provide feedback further, And the idea, I think, would be, given that the office schools are considered daily locations, you wouldn't be taking away additional spots. It'd be nice if it's not there, but obviously more specific comments for each section. Good check it.
Park Slope, no Park Slope. The problem there is that too many people drive there during the day that work in Park Slope. If you go there after 5 p.m., there's parking spaces galore. I know I work in Park Slope after my day is spent in Park Slope. So the people who actually live there have diversity of trans options, a lot of city buses, and have bike lanes. So it reduces the reliance on cars. Biking also makes it more accessible to go and humanize local businesses. So, 86th Street, in the pandemic, has been suffering, it's hard to get there for a lot of people. The R train doesn't run half the time. And, more than half of the people, the R train don't run. That's not okay, I'm exaggerating, I'm just the fact that it's like one of the worst ones. I rode my bike here, and I passed so much traffic. It will back up on 2nd Street, did that, and 400 Parkway. I was rear-ended somebody on my way here, who just decided to stop in the middle of the road. There's too many cars. We need to reduce our reliance on cars. So when you're driving, just remember, like, there's a lot of traffic. I also drive, so like, I get it. I'm the traffic when I go. But we need to diversify the transit options. And city bikes is really good way of doing it. I get it, we're gonna sacrifice some parking spots, but it's for the greater good. And you have to think about, you have to think a little bit outside of yourself and your own convenience. I understand that driving is for a lot of people to use this way, but more than half of the world is in here. So things are changing that way.
And speaking of type two, but, if I remember correctly, I think Joseph showed us a book of request to the DOT, for the Board 10 intersections that we thought were problematic, dangerous, or had complaints about, or safety concerns about. And I don't entirely understand why DOT researchers are necessarily going to city bike when we have things that are much more urgent issues that are urgent for our seniors that they can cross the streets. So that children can cross the street for school. And we're talking about this way. I know there's been some discussion, I don't know if it's true or not, that Uber and Lyft are in companies and cars sponsoring city bike, that updates. I don't know where it's coming from. I know certainly the harder you make it to drive in a neighborhood, the more likely you are to take Uber, which I do on a fairly regular basis because the MTA bus doesn't come with my kid, and my kid can't get on a city bike, so because he's 5. So we end up taking an Uber to preschool because the Uber doesn't show up when it's supposed to show up. And whether that is the correct allocation of resources, or whether we should be considering a different way, perhaps not encouraging Uber, that's not encouraging. I'm not opposed to city bike, I think it's fine. I particularly don't mind having them near, in places where there might be a parking space. But it does seem, I still am unclear as to why it is that we're going for this allocation of resources as opposed to potentially another one we have this other back.
If people aren't using them, so they keep consistent,
I'm gonna answer many questions over there and one over here. So City Bike itself is self-funded, as in DOT isn't funding them at all, and operational costs are covered by the monthly membership and then the program. And then the question here around the permanence of these, and they're not permanent, right? They're basically installed they're not like nailed to the ground, so whether they can, right? And operationally, what they mentioned was they will continue to look at the viability of each site, right? And adjust as needed, so potentially remove it. There's literally zero usage, because there's no point in putting one there. But there's definitely a level of give and give. And I would say also to the right, if 50 stations, both in number as well as the actual location, how the locations are also not set in stone. So that's where like the comments would be very, very helpful and would be something.
Jack, who's gonna monitor whether or not they're being used? Just they gotta come here like in the middle of the night, and come in, how are they gonna do that?
Yeah, so, you know, the, both the power company and, like, for being used, and all these numbers I said before are, they know exactly which numbers are being used, and frequency. So, you know, it's not constantly, well, sorry, it is not beneficial to them to operate a station that's not being used every one of my stations.
So I was just gonna say, when we were talking about comfort zones, okay. I am in the community board meetings, I live in the neighborhood, and I'm pretty well aware of a lot of what goes on, and I witness all of this. So if the DOT really wants to know what a neighborhood wants, you come to where the people are. If we need the people where they are, stand outside 77th Street subway for an hour and ask people what they think, and you're gonna get a range of opinions. And not all of us are gonna get online, and, I mean, I didn't know. You know, even though I sat here, it just went over my head, and I'm sure even other people who are aware of things that went over their head, and there's plenty of other people who are completely oblivious. And our neighborhood, you know, we have young children, they're not gonna us invite, we have older adults, they're not gonna us invite properly, you know, not gonna, you know. People who get on city bikes, they often are not people who are regular bike riders, so they're not as safe, and we have a lot of traffic issues, so we're gonna have people who are not familiar with bikes, hopping on bikes in our neighborhood where we already have issues with traffic and pedestrians and fatalities. So it's a safety issue as well. And so I guess my frustration mostly is that if you really want to know what the community thinks, come to the community and ask.
I guess close with a quick comment, right? So, you know, I myself have mentioned this at the community, like, it comes to a point. Yeah, well, I guess the suggestion for us as a board in the future, right, where it's talking about the seniors and the fact that the public, like, you know, we got to engage the other committees a lot more. And I would highly encourage the other committees to reach out to me if any of these issues need to be affected.
That's a really good point.
Thank you so much. And I just would like to also mention that the information about that city bike portal that was from January, open from January to April, has also been in our 10% community newsletter that goes out electronically. So people would have to, which I share on the website. But right, you have to be somebody who clicks that link and opens it up and reads it through. And perhaps not everybody who is sharing an opinion in our neighborhood, not just limited to people here, are using the, you know, that their email or not clicking on those links and following through. And, you know, there's a lot of opinions out there in social media, in our neighborhood corners, but not everybody contributes in the way that for this particular issue, DOT's method of collecting data was using the online portal. And there were about 700 comments, and I would say about 500 were pro, you know, it had like a plus mark that it was something that people were in agreement for a location, and probably as well over 200 were negative. And, you know, this is the data that they're using to choose these sites. It's based on the data that they've received. So, you know, now that we have now that they've shared, and we did not know that there were 50 stations. We knew there was an expansion. And when there was a last expansion several years back, I think I was on traffic and transportation at that point. It was a few stations that were on kind of the border area by like 65th Street.
Yeah.
Lee Harrison Park. So that was where the expansion was. So we're doing another expansion, okay. But then at the meeting, it was shared the number. And I think it was the number that kind of got a lot of people really concerned. And they have a map that when you please look at it, and I encourage everyone to look at it, there's different little symbols, what's a triangle, what's a square, where, you know, to help you see whether it was on the street or on, you know, on the sidewalk or in the street. And then, you know, they gave a list of the intersections, but there's not really a picture of the intersections, you know, there's no clickable links. So you had to then go, like Josephine is trying to say, and look through each one and figure out where exactly this is. So if you lived on that corner, which some of our members at that meeting knew that intersection right away and could tell you where there might be issues. But unless you were familiar with each of those 50 points, you might not have realized or known, and some of them are only about a block away from each other.
Yeah.
So that was, right, so that was like, that's confused. So Jack, I think your next meeting is gonna be well attended.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for all your hard work with this. Thank you,
Thanks,
Jack.
Jack.
Now, in light of the time, because we know it is about 9 o'clock, could we have a motion to waive the informational report from the Older Adult Issues Housing, Health, and Welfare Committee? Thank you, Sandy. Seconded? Thank you. All in favor of waiving the informational report? Thank you. Any
By
opposed?
waiving, you don't mean. it's on that.
Waiving, really, it'll be attached to the minutes, I'm sorry, waiving the reading of it, thank you. See how tired I am? I'm trying to think of it. Wait. But we do have two things that, we do have, the other report does call for a discussion and vote. So we just wanted to double check for a forum. So,
When we call your name, we're gonna ask that you please speak up loudly and say to be present.
Okay, board members, Salah Al-Tayyan. Ibrahim Anson. Jonathan Bova. Terry Brennan is absent. Tracy Brennan is absent. Barbara Collins is absent. Jane Lynn, present. Rob Carmesino. Chris Riley. Joe Chen, present. Judy Collins. Doris Cruz, Richard Day, Carmela Di Bartolo, Stanley Dietrich, Elizabeth Edmonds, Chris Ellison, Anne Lugo, Carmen Feliciano, Sammy Frangipane, Barbara Gurman, Steve Harrison.
Yep.
Dino Hatzis.
Yep.
Dan Hennis.
Yep.
Michael Wang. Habib Judah. Stella Nicholas. Pierre Leahy. Stephen Lang. Joe Lopezano. Daniel Lau. Liz Lovejoy. Stephanie Mahaney, present. Lisa Masood, present. Ruth Gazer. Francis Malaya. Marie Merkel, Danielle Lowry. Sue Nye. Romeo Patrick. Dr. O'Malley. Larry Selters absent. Henry Stewart.
Here.
Julie Thom.
Here.
Sandy Ballas.
Here.
Barbara Lucci is absent. Yan Fei Wu is absent. And Jack Zhang.
So now we will continue with my, Ruth Greenfield Mason, please come up to share with us your second item on our agenda, where we have a committee report and recommendation of the meeting. Thank you. Everybody, this is,
So it did come to the committee of, overall 18,000 Thompson welfare. And, there was a discussion, and it was a very strong majority that we should send a letter. Josephine, researched and found precedent that in the past, there have been several times that, the, board has made recommendations and written letters to, government agencies. Also, it is in our purview to comment and make requests and recommendations for the welfare and welfare of the community. There was one opposition, and the rest of the people at the meeting, both in person and virtually, were in favor of writing the letter, sending the letter. However, there were two small changes made to the letter in the first sentence and the comment down. I mean, it wasn't having trouble, but it was so that come on, so up there. So it was really no mission to the water is appreciated. So I'm going to read the letter that we did on behalf of the community. And following my reading of this, there will be an opportunity for discussion and then we are writing to express our ongoing concern for proposed cuts to our federal workforce. The bond between Bay Ridge, Geico Heights, and the federal government is especially close. Every day, hundreds of people go to work at the Brooklyn Veterans Affairs Medical Center. These dedicated public servants have been caring for our city's veterans since 1950. We believe that their work is invaluable to our veterans. Reflect our own deep gratitude for their service. We are deeply grateful for the soldiers and civilians keeping our country safe today. Several hundred are stationed at Fort Hamilton, the only military installation in the city and an institution that has been part of this community since the American Revolution. Each and every day, these men and women are working hard for all of us. Recently, the President expressed his desire to cut 80,000 workers from the Department of Veterans Affairs. He has also directed his Secretary of Defense to make deep personnel cuts. Undoubtedly, such cuts will affect our own Brooklyn VA and Fort Hamilton. The board respects our federal workforce and believes in due process. Every federal employee makes a valuable contribution and deserves to be evaluated on his or her own merits. And we urge you to demand that this administration proceeds carefully and transparently. The soldiers, doctors, nurses, and others serving our nation at the medical center at Fort Hamilton deserve no less.
I'm just curious if we have anything that wants to comment.
No, give them one time.
It's not that I don't want to, thank you for your support, but I'm not authorized to speak on behalf of it.
Yeah, I understand. Oh. Say she's not authorized, she loves to come, and she's not authorized. Thank you very much. Yeah. No, I don't.
Can I get a level rule thing? I don't know. Has anybody looked into, the proposed cuts that are being made to the VA hospital at the Fort Hamilton, Army Garrison? Are these true statements? Are there really cuts being made to the VA and to Fort Hamilton? Has anybody approached Fort Hamilton Army Garrison and the VA hospital to find out if there are truly cuts being made? Before we send out a letter, we should make sure that the statements are true and correct. We don't want to send out a letter if these statements are not true and correct.
The idea is to prevent these cuts from being made, so the letter should go out prior to people losing their jobs. It'll have much more of an effect. I don't think it'll have much of an effect. But the effect would be stronger done ahead of time than after.
Yeah, I just looked up, I did also just look up very quickly, Google, the, National Nurses Organizing Committee, a bunch of others from Manhattan VA have been, protesting cuts, as well to their hospital in Manhattan, so it is happening to New York City VAs, at least reported as of April 7th. But it might have already happened to probationary employees. Possibly.
I just looked up Google themselves and it states it's a goal. It's not a fact.
As somebody is part of this committee, I'm gonna echo here, is that we're just trying to say we're concerned. And we wanna raise the issue, and we want it to be, clarify how important Fort Hamilton is to our community.
I just clarify what the words that were cut. I don't remember, I actually authored it, I read it.
Yeah.
That's right. I don't know, I actually don't know what changed either. Yeah, it sounds great.
And there were two words in the beginning, and there were, I think, two sentences, what we will, point being is it did not change the purpose of the letter. So it was saying that there's not a specific proposed cut. Would you like to change the word proposed cut to something like consider cut? Or potential? The words that were aggressive and haphazard cuts, those two adjustments. Okay. Okay. Well, there's really, no, okay. So, going to propose, and we change propose and. Change for that. I don't know.
I am not opposed to showing, support for government authorities. I'm not opposed to showing support to Fort Hampton, Garrison Army Base. And I'm not opposed to showing support to the VA hospital. These are all very vital, organizations, and we're very fortunate to have them within our community. The only thing that I want to make sure that doesn't happen is that the board does not send out letters that have not been that are not factually correct and will diminish the board's, credibility in any future letters that will be sent out. We should be very careful on what we send out, and that what we do send out is factual and true.
Okay.
There was certainly, and I see what you're saying, is that we can say that our understanding, and that we were writing, not something, not saying it's factual, but it's a potential, make it that kind of thing. Agree?
Yes.
Okay. I don't know, friendly, I'm not, it seems to me that he's correct, and I would think that the right thing to want to do certain things. So I'm saying, write it on whether you are understanding this, okay? That way, you're not saying we're doing this, okay? We're wrong.
The whole branch is up and government. Why do we have to zero in on this issue? Getting out then for the drug enforcement agency, for the state department, for the agricultural department. There's no end to it, what we could be doing.
We have all voted.
Affects us. It affects our insurance. Yeah.
I was gonna suggest maybe, an alternative change to the language. I do understand the concern, especially when we're putting specific numbers of personnel and things like that in the letter. I think right now it says something like, the president has directed the VA to about 80,000 jobs and directed the Secretary of Defense to make personnel cuts. You can probably change that line to, the administration has directed the Secretaries of Veterans Affairs and Defense to make personnel cuts to their department. Then you're not mentioning specific numbers of personnel, which honestly could change like tomorrow. So, yeah, maybe that's a compromise.
That's what I say.
I just want to echo that statement over there, that Barbara, thank you so much for that. I think it is important for us to use our voice as a community board to raise the issues of our community. And for this one, it was important enough for board members to raise it in the previous one, to also be taken up in a strong majority to approve this. So in case like these, I think it's very important. And I think we should call this a question.
What we sent this letter to? Within community board then.
Okay, I just want to review the first sentence, make sure that we're on the same page with it. We've made two changes. We are writing to express our understanding for potential cuts to our federal workforce. want to make sure the rest is you're writing to express our understanding. It doesn't say what it is potential.
We are writing this letter, no, to say that it is our understanding, right?
Oh, it is. It is our understanding that there will be potential cuts to our federal level. If there are plans, if there are planned cuts. Okay. Okay. Well, we took it away to express our understanding that there are potential cuts to our federal work.
I just have a question about what the historical precedents were, because I just wanted to know what we've done in the past and what was and the concept. I was just curious about that and here a little bit. Obviously, it's always important to be and
So in the past, specifically the board, and what we able to constitute courthouse on the Garrison potential closure. We did run all that petition. There is a phrase in the community board section, it's very general about, you know, being advocates for the welfare of the district. So, you know, it's in that language that we looked at. Now, really, most of the work that we do, you know, relates to city-related agencies, that's our mandate. But in this case, because both of the hospital on Garrison are, you know, big primary, you know, important community facilities within the district, which is why, even though there is precedent in the past with the closure that we did right to our institution.
Okay, I'm going to make a motion. Oh, it's on the left. As amended to our elected state and federal. Thank you. All in favor? Thank you so much, and now please welcome Chris Ellison to speak for our nominating committee.
No, it's final back at this time. Nomination committee met on April 23rd, 2025. Committee consisted of board member Tracy Brady, board members Barbara Turner, board member Ruth Reed Mixer, board member Pierre Label, and Chris Ellison, Chairman. The meeting was a hybrid meeting to discuss and review dates and commission consideration for officer positions on the 2026. The email was sent to all board members on April 24th, requesting those that would like to be considered for an officer position in 2026. The positions are chairperson, vice chairperson, treasurer, and secretary. Those which be considered respond in writing via email to bk10@cb.nyc.gov. No later than noon, May 7, 2025. Subject to email should be Contention Nominations Committee. The response email should have what position they are requesting and a brief summary of qualifications both past and present, and what they feel they can bring to the position they are applying for. On May 7, 2025, the census of the committee was called to extend the deadline to noon, May 9, 2025. The committee met in person, forum, on May 13, 2025, to review those who are considering positions as an officer along the board. The discussion and review of all board members wishing consideration was reviewed. nomination committee had one submission for chairperson, 2 submissions for vice chairperson, 1 submission for treasurer, and 2 submissions for secretary. And to review those considerations, the committee's nominations are as follows. Board member Sandy Bowles, the chairperson. Board member Stephanie Simone Mahaney, vice chairperson. Board member Jack Sang, secretary. Board member Cheryl Chan, treasurer. We honored in 2013, 25, and then approximately 4:30 on June 13th, and then 4:45. Board members requesting consideration notified by phone by the nomination committee chair. So now I open to move nominations from the floor. Are there any nominations for the position of treasurer? Seeing none, I move to close nominations for treasurer. Are there any nominations for the position of secretary? Seeing none, I move to close nominations for secretary. Are there any nominations for the position of vice chair? Seeing none, I move to close nominations for vice chair. Are there any nominations for the position of chair? Seeing none, I move to close nominations for chair. I'd like to request a motion to close nominations. No additional action. So we firm the slate for the, for by nominating committee at our next June 16th board meeting. I want to thank the committee for their efforts.
Thank you so much, and thank you to all of our office and volunteers. Thank you. Now, do we have any old business? Seeing none, do we have any new business?
Can I just say one really quick thing? I just want to say that Ruth Mazer was honored yesterday at our 100th anniversary of the Baker Jewish Center. The president of our congregation for like 1 million years, along with Diane Sobel, and I just wanted to bring that up and say how proud we were of Ruth, and it was a wonderful.